$500,000 worth of cocaine seized last night, the Minister of Health addressing the overfilled morgue, and 15 more lives lost to the deadly pandemic. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tyler Simonet with your JCN News for this August 31st. It's good having you with us. 2 men are in police custody after police seized $500,000 worth of cocaine last night during a joint operation between OPAT, the Drug Enforcement Unit, the U.S. Coast Guard, and the Royal Bahamas Police Force Marine Division. Press Liaison Officer Assistant Superintendent of Police Audley Peters was on the scene to give the details.
On Sunday, the 29th of August 2021, sometime around 7:30 a.m., officers observed a sailboat in the Long Island area. They boarded this vessel and found 2 males aboard. They were informed of the reason for the vessel being boarded, and the officers conducted a preliminary search of the vessel. However, nothing was found at the time. It was decided that a secondary search was needed, so those persons aboard were arrested and the vessel was towed into Exuma.
According to ASP Peters, that second search was needed due to the first search being hindered due to the nature of the sea at that time, and that many assets were unavailable at the time to assist in doing a thorough search.
Sometime today, during a secondary search, the officers discovered concealed in a compartment 3 bags which, when inspected, contained 24 kilos of suspected cocaine. This cocaine is believed to have a street value of about $500,000. The suspects are nationals from Venezuela and the Dominican Republic, and the age range are from 37 to 56.
When asked if police feel as if they are making a significant dent into the drug flow that is coming into the country, ASP Peters says the police are doing their part, as today this is a shipment that has not reached its destination due to their efforts, and that they will continue to chip away at that wall until the reduction they're looking for happens. Investigations into this matter continue. Minister of Health Renwood Wells says government is still looking at ways to address the overflow at the Princess Margaret Hospital morgue. He told reporters this much before Cabinet today.
Well, there are a number of ways that we can do it. We can call the particular funeral homes where there's already arrangements with family members so that they can speed up the process. We can put it out again to the general public that they need to come and have ones. The government has in the past also in circumstances, because we do have some infants who are in the morgue and folks have not necessarily come back to claim them. This would have been in the process of birth. The child died, or you would have had miscarriages, and we consider those bodies as well.
Now, several weeks ago, Minister Wells appealed to relatives of deceased individuals whose bodies are still at PMH's morgue to make arrangement for their loved ones' bodies. The minister was frank when he noted that in Bahamian culture, we like to memorialize loved ones after they pass away.
We expanded the morgue capacity. We have some more freezers, mobile freezers, at PMH that's dealing with the deceased persons that we do have. It is not at crisis level for us now, but we're observing it. And as the Bahamian people come in and collect their loved ones for burial, it keeps it balanced.
Now, over the course of the pandemic, the Public Hospitals Authority has repeatedly made pleas to the public to quickly collect their loved ones from the morgue. The normal capacity of the morgue is 75 bodies, but it is currently holding over some 200. 15 more Bahamians have lost their lives due to COVID-19. This is the latest from the Ministry of Health's COVID-19 report for Sunday, August 29th. 12 of these deaths coming out of Grand Bahama and 3 here in the capital. These deaths range in age from 46 to 91. The death toll is now at 396. Meantime, health officials also confirming 129 additional cases of the virus, 114 confirmed here in New Providence, with 4 having a history of travel within 14 days, 4 on Grand Bahama, 6 on Eleuthera, 1 on the Berry Islands, 3 on Exuma. 2 of those also had a history of travel within 14 days, and 1 case confirmed on Crooked Island. Total cases are now at 18,268. Active cases are now at 3,093, 168 of which are in hospital. 155 are considered moderately ill, while 13 are in intensive care. The governing Free National Movement has launched a nationwide tour of drive-in rallies that began in Grand Bahama and New Providence. On Monday, the FNM took their rally to Eleuthera. Here's Jcn Saunders with more.
The Free National Movement was in North Eleuthera on Monday night, where they asked voters to make a tick for Rick when they enter the voting booth on September 16th, in support of the incumbent Ricky Mackey. The drive-in rallies will continue on Tuesday night in South Eleuthera, but in North Eleuthera on Monday, Mr. Mackey appears to be confident of being re-elected. He took the opportunity to remind constituents, especially those in Spanish Wells, The Bluff, and Harbour Island, of some of the government's accomplishments over the past 4 years, including road and bridge improvements, potable water, clinics, and a more secured fishing industry. Like Mackey, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis is also confident the FNM will win both seats on Eleuthera.
I am here in Eleuthera because the FNM wants your support to continue the good work we started 4.5 years ago. I am here to deliver the fraternal twins in North Eleuthera. You gave me twins last time, and we will get twins again. Let us return Ricky Mackey in North Eleuthera and Hank Johnson in Central and South Eleuthera to work on behalf of all Eleutherans. The FNM torch continue to burn bright from north to central, to south, Harbour Island, Spanish Wells, and Current Island. When election night is over, I want the Bahamas to say, Eleuthera held firm.
Dr. Minnis says his party has major plans for the country and especially the Family Islands. But in order to get the country's economic engine running at full strength and back on track, there is a major hurdle the country must first overcome.
We are traveling to Bahamas to ask the Bahamian people for a new mandate to end the emergency phase of the pandemic and to continue the work of getting our economy roaring again. We have big plans for the Family Islands, but to put more of these plans in place, from investments to infrastructure, we need to end this wave and the emergency phase of the pandemic. The way out of the COVID-19 pandemic is vaccination.
Deputy Prime Minister Desmond Bannister provided numbers to some of the infrastructural improvements on Eleuthera, like $11 million spent to improve the Queens Highway, and still to come, $2.6 million budgeted to pave roads on Harbour Island, and a new bridge in Spanish Wells connecting Russell Island at a cost of $2.8 million, in addition to over $700,000 spent on road improvements on Spanish Wells. But according to Mr. Bannister, there are still some major projects in the pipeline for Eleuthera that the FNM would like to complete in their next term.
Only bridge in this country that is going to be more beautiful is when we start your new glass window bridge next year. We've already done all the engineering works. We know where the bridge is going to be. We know how high it's going to be. It is going to be something like when you look and see like when you go to San Francisco someplace. You wouldn't believe it. You're going to get a $30 to $40 million bridge that is going to be a worldwide attraction for people to come here just to see the bridge. We are going to create next to that bridge a very special tourist attraction. And North Eleuthera residents are going to be able to have boots there and make money in the very near future. We know how important Harbour Island is. And so we are going to upgrade the dock in Harbour Island. And the Prime Minister is going to talk about the second project. You are going to get the most fantastic airport anywhere in the Family Islands. Your government has budgeted $75 million for the most modern, beautiful airport for North Eleuthera that you could ever imagine.
The FNM rallies continue Tuesday night with a trip to South Eleuthera, where Hank Johnson is the incumbent. Jcn Saunders for Jcn News.
From the handling of the pandemic to providing plans for economic recovery, Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Davis criticizes mistakes he believes the government has made during its 4.5-year term in office. Jcn's Leah Cooper has more.
One big choice the government has made is to never plan ahead. This much coming from Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Davis during his nationally televised address last evening. He adds that the Minnis administration never offered the public a comprehensive plan to manage the health and economic emergency.
Here we are, right before the voting starts. And where is the government's COVID plan? or their economic plan or their platform. Remember now, they are the ones who called the snap election. So why don't they have plans to share with the country? Their failure to plan ahead has trapped our country in a vicious cycle of failing to prepare and then scrambling, too late to cope. From the start of this pandemic, this government signals that there was going to be one set of rules for themselves and their wealthy friends, and another for the rest of us.
He adds that this choice to discriminate and enforce rules unevenly from the start has been another failure by the minister-led administration.
Restaurants at our quay were closed when franchise restaurants were open. Bahamians were stranded abroad while foreigners on yachts and private planes were allowed to enter. Everyone noticed who got arrested at the side of the road and who didn't. Trust is everything in a public health emergency, and this government squandered it early on.
He says the choice not to test or trace enough was another mistake made by the government, and not to make testing free.
In June of last year, I warned the country needed more testing and tracing resources in place to safely reopen the borders. Some combination of ignorance and arrogance meant they didn't listen. The borders were open. Cases came in. There was not enough testing or tracing to keep up with the virus.
Mr. Davis says it's time for a science-based, compassionate, common sense, respectful, unifying approach, and the party's COVID-19 task force has a 10-point action plan. The core value at its foundation is respect, he says. Respect for the latest science, respect for our medical professionals, and respect for the Bahamian people who are trying their best to navigate and survive these trying times. He said it also begins with free testing and a dramatic expansion of testing, in particular, the use of rapid antigen tests. Reporting for Jcn News, I'm Leah Cooper.
You're watching Jcn News. Stay with us.